Hello and welcome. I am A.M. Snyder from Snyder's Sunshine Art Studio, where creativity shines. With over 20 plus years of public school teaching experience, I bring step by step art instruction and ready to use art lessons to spark creativity in students and offer art teachers a much needed reprieve. So let's create something wonderful together. Hello, it's A.M. Snyder from Snyder's Sunshine Art Studio. I have for you a chicken artwork, and we start off with an egg shape. It's a little after the Easter holiday, and well, spring continues to blossom and bloom, and I know around where I live, people have chickens. They are keeping their chickens in their yards with chicken coops, and as I drive by, some of these chickens are just kind of roaming around in the front lawn. So I have this particular lesson where we take overall one sheet of paper, it might be 1.5 standard size paper here, and we can transform it into a fun handheld chicken kind of rod puppet or stick puppet. And it is two-sided, so you students or art teachers and your students can produce this little chicken puppet. And if you have two, right, if students that want to play with each other, depending on how you draw and cut your chicken, you will be able to have the fun interaction of them talking with each other and making like a little puppet show. I always find these to be quite fun. They can be done within an hour if people are really focused, or if you need to, you take 2 hours. But overall, as an art teacher, you could incorporate a video about chickens, fun facts about chickens, or you can find a storybook that has a little chicken character, anything like that to start the lesson off. You can even ask students what they know about chickens, and that's always fun. Just chickens are fun. There's certain words I know as an art teacher that I use that students just find to be funny. And there's the typical, why did the chicken cross the road? So there's a bunch of jokes you could probably come up with as well. With that, let's get into producing our fun little chicken here, using hopefully one sheet of paper, but we'll find out in a moment. I'm going to take my standard paper here. It looks like I have 2 by accident. And I also have my cat Ruth in here, so if you hear weird noises, it's probably her rooting around in the art room. I'm going to fold it in half. The paper is in half like a greeting card. There it is. And now I'm going to take and turn it just to an angle here. I want to make sure that it is opening towards me like a laptop or a book that's opening on the side towards me. And now I'm going to take my hand and put it on the fold. This is the fold right here. And I'm going to draw around my hand with a curvy line. And then I'm going to close it off at the bottom. Alright, now that I did that, I have half an egg. It looks a bit wide, so I can always trim it up. And now I'm going to cut that out. Okay, I open it up, and I have a very wide egg-like shape, correct? This leftover paper we are keeping because it's going to help us make all the other parts. I'm going to turn it around to this side where it's creased, and I'm going to decorate it. Now, when we look at these chickens I had made in the prior past, they are not fully colorful because these were my demonstration chickens for my classes. So you can see how it has tail feathers, it has a wing. Those are extras that we can decorate as well. And then we have the repetition of line here. So you could either produce the decoration like the idea of an Easter egg, by repeating lines and decorations, you could randomly put designs on the chicken. You can make it look realistic with feather lines. So there are possibilities there. I'm simply going to go ahead and start with, I'm going to use orange here. I want this to be where its eye goes, so I'm not going to decorate there. So keep that in mind. The narrow part of the egg shape I'm going to keep as the eye. However, you could use the wider shape for its eye. So if I go back to my examples here, okay, so when we look at this one, I have the narrow part for its tail feathers and the wide part for its eye. But if we look at this one, I have the narrow part for the eye and the wide part for its feathers. So either way, all right. So I'm going to use this side for its eye today, and now I'm going to add a bumpy line, and I'm going to double up the bumpy line so that I can color it in. You could use whatever lines you want and produce whatever pattern or repetition of lines to decorate, in essence, your egg-like shape. And I'm going to keep this color out because I'm going to use it again. And I'm going to use, should I use red? Yeah, I'll use red. So I'm going to use another curved set of lines here, right where those points are. I color those in. Produces kind of like a diamond. And then I'm going to repeat. And color that in. Now, as an art teacher, many of my examples and models for my lessons usually don't get completed because I'm trying to instruct, help students in the process. But this one should be completed because I'm doing it with you, and you can pause and rewind, and you can go at your speed because it's recorded, right? I'm going to use some yellow here, and I'm going to add in, let's see here. I think I'm just going to add in some straight lines, yeah. Okay, and I'm going to take my black, or should I take gray? Let's go gray. And add some dots. So it's dots, skip, dots, skip. Made a little mistake, but oh well, let's move on. And now I'm just going to put a bunch of dots back here, different sizes. I'm thinking of how some chickens have those speckles. Again, as I reflect on all the chickens I see that are free ranging around here, there are brown ones and black ones and white with speckles and tan ones with yellow and orange in their feathers. It's incredible. The range of different colors chickens can be, as well as the size. A.M. Snyder never really realized how big chickens could become or can become. I always thought they were somewhat smaller. I know that there are different breeds of chickens, so yes, they come in different sizes. Just like human beings, we come in different sizes too, don't we? Quite funny, huh? All right, so now one thing we can do with the eye is we can create an eye separate and then glue it on. So we could draw in the corner here an eye shape, keeping the paper closed. You could cut it out and then you'll have two, and then you can repeat what you want there as the eye. Or you could draw the eye here. If you draw it dark enough and you crease it over and you scribble on the back, it makes a mess, so beware. And especially children, they like to put their fingers in it, but that will transfer it. So now I have a light image. I can trace over it. Apologize, my lines look a bit shaky there. I don't know why they became so shaky. I'm going to color those in. Let's make it green. Green-eyed chicken today. Take my black, trace over it. Alrighty. Yeah, it looks kind of funny looking, doesn't it? Now, I'm thinking you could turn this into a fish as well, by the way. You just cut out the mouth shape and give it some fins and you're set, right? So, now I'm going to take and fold this over. So there's that. And I'm going to take this, get that out of the way there. And I'm going to use this part right here for its wing. So just going to draw and make it curvy. Yeah, let's make it curvy. Okay, so if we go back to the other ones here, I just cut in the corner so you can see how that is. Okay, I just cut a curve and then I cut a curve, and then that will give you that kind of wing. Okay. Here, I drew a bumpy line. Put that to the side. So, you can see how that works, right? I'm thinking, do I want to round it? I do. I just round it. Alright, so now I have two wings. I can decorate those as well. Did I leave my orange out? So. And then I'm going to try to do the same thing over here, just to make it somewhat match, because you can tie in the idea of symmetry here. Symmetry is a form of balance. Chickens are mostly, for the wholeness of them, symmetrical. They're same on both sides. So unlike Nemo with a little fin, this chicken's going to have two of the same fins. Fins? Chicken fins? Did I say that? Wings. Nemo is a fish. Clownfish. If you're not familiar with Nemo, you need to check out Nemo, because we all have to keep swimming, right? And then his character, he has a little fin. He overcomes his disadvantage in life, goes on an adventure, all of that. Our chicken, well, you can turn it into a story too. That would be fun. Anyway, our chicken has the same size wings, not fins. Speaking as teachers is always fun. Trust me, A.M. Snyder has misspoken multiple times in front of a classroom. Thankfully, the children give me grace. We laugh it off and we move on. Okay, so I have wing number 1 and wing number 2. Wing number 1 and wing number 2. Now, if you really want to get into it, you could decorate the back. Why don't I just do that? Because then you can pop them off the side. Now, I am doing this on printer paper. I didn't realize it was printer paper until I had it under the camera and realized I had 2. I thought it was heavier paper, but then I discovered I had 2 papers. So if you are using drawing paper, which is a little thicker, you might want to use markers. Markers would be brighter and more exciting, so that's a possibility. I would not recommend watercolor or paint, because tempera paint in particular will probably chip off as you're manipulating the paper. Watercolor will make everything bulky because it buckles the paper. Alright, so I have the wings. I am using very simple supplies: paper, tape, glue, stick, and crayons. Don't forget the pencil, of course. Alright, get that over there. So now I need a beak. So the beak is going to go here. I am going to draw it right here, our triangle shape. Okay. And instead of cutting it out right away, I'm just going to color across this because it's bigger and it's going to be easier to color. And I'm going to color across the other side. Notice I did not open the paper. The paper is still folded on that crease. That is very important to making this very easy. If you or students start opening the paper, you don't have 2 of the same to make it symmetrical. It makes it more challenging. So keeping the paper closed on that crease that's still there, there's a crease here and a crease there, will help a great deal. Didn't get that fully. There we go. So now I have, I have 2 that are the same, everybody. And I'm going to give it a nose hole. And, where's my other black? I realized earlier I have a Crazy Art crayon in here. And A.M. Snyder is not a fan of the Crazy Art crayons. Their waxiness do not help. Alright, so that's going to go in there. And we are now going to look at some feathers here. But before I do that, we still have these 2 creases. Remember what I said earlier about that? I'm going to cut this in half. And then I'm going to take and color this red. You'll see in a moment why I'm doing this. Flip it over, do the same over here. Notice my fingers trying to keep the paper from wrinkling up. If you know anything about chickens, you probably know where I'm going with this. I'm going to cut out a bumpy edge here because chickens have something called a comb on the top of their heads. And now I have two. And that's going to go there. Okay, so I have those items, and we're going to start putting them in place for now. So I'm going to slice its head, everybody. Notice where I'm going here. I'm going on the crease. Okay, so I'm going to cut right on the crease. Now open it up. And I slide this in. Looks like I need to cut it a little more. Just cut it a little more. There we go. Alright, so now we are going to put the glue. Here's where its eye is. I can see on the side of the paper where the eye is. So I'm going to put some glue down below its eye. And I'm going to find the one that has, there's the nose hole. You can see it's backwards, so I'm going to flip it. And then I'm going to glue this one to that side. Alright, now it wants to stick to me, so beware of that. We're going to put the glue along this edge here. This is upside down. I'm going to slide it in. And now I'm going to take this one. I'm going to slide it in there. Put the glue here. And flip that over. Whoop, that moved. Put that in there. Flip it over. There it is. I'm looking at that and I'm thinking I want that up. So I'm going to carefully peel it open. Yeah, because I don't like how that's looking. And slide it up just a little more. And your kids will do this if you have students, or you as a student will reevaluate it. Alright, so now it's looking more like a chicken, right? Alright. It's open here because we need to add stuff to it. I'm not going to put its wings on just yet. What I am going to do is take this leftover paper here and I'm going to draw some legs and some feet. So this is already narrow. All I have to do is figure out what kind of toes I want. So if I use the letter M, just take this line down to the letter M. It's a really narrow toe. Maybe I want it to be a little wider. I'm going to get my eraser there. Okay, first time erasing in our video. Alright. And I'm going to color that orange. Flip it over. I now need to color this length. Alright, now here comes the question. Are you going to make the chicken look like its legs are separate? Or are you going to make them the same? So on these I have both legs so that they're kind of on what appear to be the same side of the chicken. But we know that it's not. So if we're going to do that, then we want to open this up and color the inside as well. Okay, back over here. I'm simply going to cut this off and cut on this. You can see how we're using the majority of one sheet of paper, which is wonderful. A.M. Snyder does not like to waste stuff. So we have our chicken legs, and they're going to go in there. chicken legs. How silly is that? And the stick's going to go in there, but we're not going to do it just yet. We're going to take these leftover pieces, we color them as well. I'm going to add some blue to these feathers. And I do the other side as well. I'm going to add some purple. I add some red violet. Now, the inside, you may want to color it as well. I'm just going to color it a solid color because you're going to see, you can see how difficult it is not the paper separated, right? It's smaller, it's separated, it's going to bulk up on you, especially when you get in the corners. It's going to do that number. It's always frustrating. So that's why I spread my fingers across it like that to hold it down. But if we are geared towards using all the paper, it just works out. Now I am coloring this paper and using it for its tail feathers, but you can also use construction paper, colored paper, and you or your students could take and cut out colorful feathers that way. You can also get actual artificial feathers, and put the feathers on it like that as well. All right, so put these together and cut out some fun feather shapes. Okay, now I have all these little bits. I even like to use the bits, everybody. The bits. I cut this right there. And those would be fun. Yeah, I'm going to keep those. I put the rest of that over there. And you can see that we have our multitude of feathers to add here. And I'm going to flip that one and stick them in there. How fun is that? It's really fun. Alright, now before I keep going here, I'm thinking I'm going to add some lines, some black lines to them. You can even take, if you really want to, outline it. May add a little extra to your chicken. Okay. Alright, let's get everything on here now. I'm going to start off by opening the chicken up. We have some tape. This is that lovely masking tape that, depending on the brand you get or what happens to it, it likes to peel weird. I have stories about tape as a teacher, the hassles of tape, but we won't go there right now. Alright, so I have this stick. The stick is going in there. I have a hair in there. Get out of there. Alright, so we have our stick in there. We're going to tape it in place. I always like to tell students to make sure you press the tape on either side so there's no air pocket. Done. And now we're going to put our glue in here. Plop. Put our chicken leg in there. Plop. Plop. Put more glue on top. And we also put in the glue on its rear end. Put in, I flip the feather. Okay. Flip this feather. I have to put more glue because that feather covers that glue. And I gotta flip this over because I want this one on this side. So I'm gonna shove that in there. Okay. And then we put some glue overall on the edge. How fun is that? Collect all my trash to the side there. We have its wing. So the straight edge here is where I'm going to fold it. So it creates that little edge there so that we can put glue on it. I sat the glue on its rear end. Now we have to wait for gravity again. Alright. There we go. Before I glue this down, I'm going to match these. Let's see here. This goes this way and this one goes this way. So I'm going to fold this one up. And now we have these little flaps that are going to come together. Now you're thinking, why are you gluing those together? I'm not. I'm just pressing the glue onto the other one. And so I'm going to set that down. We're going to stick this one on. So now you can see how the wing kind of pops off its body. How fun is that? And then we're going to put this one on. And we have our fun chicken. Yes, look at those feathers, those are lovely. Alrighty, so this is A.M. Snyder, so very thankful that you joined me with our little chicken exercise here. So you can see how we have different eye shapes, we have different patterns, different feather shapes, different wing shapes. You can see how this one's beak is located higher up on its face as well. Creates a different effect. The position of the eye is looking back on this one. This one here is looking up. So that also creates some character to our chickens and so on. Okay, so these also have been folded. It just was hard to see because they were laying flat, right? So some fun ideas for a chicken artwork. A.M. Snyder, so very thankful that you have joined me on this particular artwork, this fun activity. And you can see that if you forget to slice the head of the chicken, you just glue it on the top and it's all good, right? Alrighty, until next time, I hope that you have learned something new and that you will enjoy making your own little chicken artwork. I so want to go bawk, 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 but I'm not that good at that chicken sound. Alrighty, A.M. Snyder, until next time, thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.